Greetings. Welcome to Speak Nerd and Enter.
Speak Nerd and Enter. This is Sean. Right next to me is Mark. And then, of course, Rich next to him. And on the end, as always, there he is. Insert your own musical or video or movie referenced joke.
Hello.
The K-Man.
Well, we're phoning it in this week, huh? Okay.
Hey, man, we got, work was wearing me out, man. We got all that snow coming in and everything, so.
Okay.
I know.
Yeah.
Your camera shot is diminished because you're further away, so you look like you've been reduced from the rest of us.
Yeah.
I have been.
Yeah, three of us are on the East Coast, and we are bracing for, the storm of the century. Everybody's freaking out about it, where we're going to get a bunch of snow. And
just like the last.
I, for one, am looking forward to snuggling in my house while the snow comes down. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of miniatures to monkey with, man.
That's the other thing is they had out on the tables when I got to work in the break area. They had out on the tables the stuff about how important it is that, we take our duty seriously to be there and, all of this stuff. And then about how you got to be careful as you're walking around outside, be careful with the ice and, all driving and all that. No, I called right in. I'm not going to be there tonight or tomorrow. We'll have to see what happens.
Greetings. Welcome to Speak Nerd and Enter.
Yeah.
Wait, but they have that whole slogan and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they can keep it. So, did anybody see the Maul trailer?
Maul.
I
Yes.
saw a piece of it.
Explain.
Yes.
Is that a Darth
Maul?
No.
Yeah.
No, I didn't even know this. What is this?
It's a new show coming to Disney Plus.
Really? I had no idea.
About Darth Maul and his criminal enterprise.
Oh,
So it's going to suck.
No, it's going to be amazing.
I mean, you kind of know
It
the
is
end of the
next
story.
product for us to consume until follow-on product.
Next
That-
product, yes.
Hey, I will say this. The Maul series stuff that they had out of Rebels and out of Clone Wars was the best. That stuff was amazing. That was really good. And it's the same folks who are doing that, who did that, who are doing this. So I'm going to give them, I am not going to crap on it or anything like that. I'm going to give them a
Benefit
chance.
of the doubt is what I'm hearing.
Yeah. That arc
Okay.
with Maul and his brother, where they took off and decided we're going to take over the entirety of the galaxy's underworld and just own it. And they took over Mandalore and all that, all in the space of like a week. I was, that was one of those where I told you, that was one of those where I saw that arc and I thought, now that is how Sith should act. That is truly, truly a galactic threat. And like, I could see you guys doing that in one of our campaigns. Absolutely could see
and for
that.
those of you who don't know, we once played a Star Wars role-playing game campaign where we were Sith. Like, none of this Jedi nonsense. Well, of course, we played ones where we were Jedi as well, but I think one of the longest running and best campaigns we ever played was our group of Sith characters. Like, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, just running roughshod over the entirety of the galaxy. It was great. Yeah. And then being told that, we shouldn't do that, that's not fun, and you guys shouldn't, that whole thing.
Yeah, Sean was our dungeon master, and he went on some forums to ask some questions like, hey, we're thinking about doing X, Y, and Z, and good times reading the replies.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're playing it wrong. You can't do that.
Yeah. Yeah. What about all your other? Yeah. Come on. Yeah.
You can't.
That was.
Remember, we all played Jedi and another one, and Russell played a droid, and then he got all upset because we had these amazing powers, and he was just a droid, and we're like, well, you chose to play a droid, dude.
Yeah.
Like, you should have played a Jedi. I mean, what are you doing?
Russ always had a penchant for doing that stuff, but that Maul one, that's why I'm actually pretty stoked for that. I really am. I'm hoping it's good. I'm hoping they don't go overboard with the cutesy stuff or anything, and they stick pretty much to what they had before every time Maul showed up, which was awesome. And I would love to see that. So I'm actually looking forward to that one. So
Okay.
and
Very
how
good.
do you guys feel, by the way, about the whole Kathleen Kennedy thing?
I
Too little,
think
too
that-
late.
Well, no, I think we
Oh,
really
I can't
don't-
hear you. I'm gonna have to.
again. Oh, okay. Wonder why he keeps dropping out on
Yeah, I don't know.
hearing us.
No.
We hear him perfectly. I think it's
Right,
maybe
yeah.
with headphone wires.
Let's talk about him when he's not looking.
He's so sexy.
The way he fills out that bathrobe. Oh,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hello.
Sorry about that, guys. I don't know. It keeps muting everybody, like, you know.
Very strange. Yeah, because we
Yeah.
hear you perfectly.
What
Yeah,
Kathleen
yeah.
Kennedy
In
thing?
fact,
Maybe it's
like,
trying to emulate my whole outlook on life, that everyone should hear me.
It's like the song of the bird from the Mount of Olympus. It is amazing.
So, Kelly, in answer to your question, Kathleen Kennedy has finally stepped down as president of Lucasfilm, and two other people are replacing her: Dave Filoni and a lady I'm forgetting her name. I think he's on the creative side; she's on the business side, kind of thing.
Yeah.
That was my impression.
Yeah, and I heard Dave Filoni.
And again, I'm like, the damage is done. Is my opinion. Like, she's been there a long time, has steered the direction in ways none of us are particularly happy with.
Mm-hmm.
And so, okay, cool, she's gone, but the damage is done. I don't feel like there's really been a change. I'm perfectly willing to give Dave Filoni some slack now that he's going to be fully in charge. Like, let's go. But you know, you blew up Star Wars for nothing.
Snaps.
I give them. I'm with you 100%. I'm with you 100%. But there are still bits of that universe that are worthwhile. I mean, you know, there was Andor that was worthwhile. You know, things like that. And you know, I don't know. I don't want to be a glass half full kind of person because that's so not who I am. but there's like, I don't know. I'll give them a shot and see what happens. You know, the worst that happens is it continues to suck. You know,
right? It can't get much worse. I say, for semi-facetious.
Oh, ye of little faith. Andor was
I have much faith that it could get worse. But
Andor was the one thing they had nothing to do with. They kind of, it was the redheaded stepchild that they kind of pushed to the side. And they really gave it no attention, and it turned out to be the best thing they'd done in 12 years.
Yeah, that was so good.
I feel like they snuck it in there. You know what I mean? Like let's just go make this over here, and
it slipped under the radar. That's what happened.
Yeah.
But I heard Dave Filoni speechify after she announced her retirement, and he is he's just her minion. That's his
which is why I'm like,
agenda. And Ahsoka is his primary, like that's what he wants to push to the front. You know, Ahsoka, where you have fire in space. So, you know,
you have fire in space. The sun is on fire.
It's true.
Kelly makes a valid point.
That's right.
Bravo, Kelly. Bravo. I'm glad you
have a good day, everybody. Take care.
Okay, on that.
So, you know,
but maybe Filoni has just been biding his time, towing the line. Doing what was asked of him, so now he's in charge and he can rule with an iron fist.
No. John Favreau
is like the Death Star being unleashed upon the galaxy now.
Happy Hogan, maybe.
He's the ultimate power in this universe.
Like John Favreau from Couples Retreat type energy, I could see maybe, but you know, but no, man, it's I have very little. I don't think anything's gonna change. I think. You know, they blew up is putting it lightly for what they did to Star Wars. They took the greatest money-making machine in the history of cinema. Because you remember how Star Wars, someone brought this up, Star Wars used to occupy, when Toys R Us existed, Star Wars used to occupy an entire aisle, both sides. Not just a section of an aisle, both sides of the aisle. Now I went by a Walmart, which does still exist.
I thought he was
And,
going to say now I go buy a Toys R Us.
And yeah,
There's nothing on the, there's nothing on the shelves at all. There's no Star Wars. There's no My Little Pony.
I'd have to go
What
to I'd have to go to
happened?
Canada to find a Toys R Us because they still exist there.
I
But
had to break in. The
yeah.
doors were locked at
I go
5
by
o'clock
the
on Tuesday.
I go by the abandoned shell
Terrible
of the
business
warehouse that
model.
now exists on the property. But I go by, you walk down a Walmart aisle and Star Wars doesn't even occupy one entire strip on a rack.
No,
It's
no.
literally 6 spots on a rack.
So
and
those
nothing
overpriced
else.
Legos now.
Even the Legos are
Yeah.
disappearing. I see them in Target from time to time, but it's amazing how much damage they've done to something which seemed unassailable.
What do you think about what do you think about the what was it, the Fate of the Old Republic? They're coming out with that sequel to the previous, the Old Republic games that they had, and now they're doing the Fate of the Old Republic.
There's still sparks. I mean, it's just like embers in a dying fire.
But but this is the thing. With him there is the pot, and I'm not saying it's going to happen. I actually have no faith any of the stuff is going to happen. But with her gone and him coming in, and I guess whatever other changes come along with that, because each person, they may be a minion of the person who was there before, but these people who get in charge, they want to put their own stamp on things.
Oh yeah.
And so they bring in their own folks and stuff. But with the Fate of the Old Republic coming out, it could be really good timing or just serendipitous that if it happens to be as well written as the previous game, or Knights of the Old Republic or any of the ancillary stuff, then it could be, like you were saying, embers in a fire. It could be those that could be fanned into becoming something once again that's more intriguing, instead of laser slingshots and
Switches and
that kind of thing.
yeah.
So
now, I will say this: I enjoyed Skeleton Crew much more than I expected to.
Never saw it.
It's not all bad. It was Goonies in space, and if you went into it expecting like a kid's story or whatever, like it was fine. I did not go in there with any high expectations whatsoever. I was pleasantly surprised. Andor is top of the game. Like that's what we want out of our Star Wars. But like on the movies and the TV front, other than those, season 1 of The Mandalorian, it was pretty good. It's been downhill since then. I just help us, Dave Filoni. You're our only hope. I'm going to have some
nothing
faith.
to do with you. You're a chud. You're just a chud, sir.
They are doing things like changing the Star Wars experience at the parks. So they're adding, I know this sounds stupid, they're adding Darth Vader, and they're adding Han Solo and Chewbacca. And I know most people who don't know about, the experience of Star Wars at Disney or any of that would think, well, wouldn't they always be there? No,
well,
they
brought
hadn't.
them back. They didn't add them. They brought them back because they got rid of them and then brought them back again.
Yes.
Yeah.
What did they have, like Kylo Ren and Rey and stuff like that in there?
Yep.
Yes, it was a focus on the sequel trilogy and the planet. What's the name of the stupid planet?
What? No, not Naboo.
No, not Naboo. It's
Earth.
No,
the original desert planet. The
Tatooine.
No, it's one of the ones. Baku. The Baku or whatever it was from the,
from the first movie where Rey was the junk collector.
Jakku.
Right on Tatooine carbon copy.
Tatooine Light. Yeah, it was Baku. I believe.
Yeah. So the focus of it was on that. They're supposed to be redoing that entirely, and that whole thing. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Who knows?
I mean, Disney has that the parks. I mean, we used to go to Orlando quite a bit, and Universal is going to eat their lunch. It's looking pretty strong. The Universal Monsters Park looks great. I actually am pretty interested in checking it out.
I thought they owned most of Universal now. I thought they bought that up.
No.
Yeah, I thought they owned. I'll have to look that up. I thought they bought a bunch of their stock.
Maybe. But, I mean,
I
it would
don't
be
know.
smart if they did, because their park is crushing Disney World.
You can
Right
save
now
that
in
for the
Orlando.
shareholder meeting, Sean.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
No, I
Well, I
sold
will say
mine.
this.
I sold mine last year.
Good for you. I
Yeah.
will say this: like last weekend, we did the big fencing tournament that we do every year with the t-shirt business, and I'm doing the thing, and I look over across this big room, and I see lightsabers, and I'm like, those are lightsabers over there. I was like, I'll be back, and I go over there, and there's some dudes with like these
Sticking them out.
combat ready lightsabers doing demos of like, it's not fencing, it's not HEMA, but it's like HEMA, historical European martial arts, but with lightsabers, and they have the padded, things, and they're, beating the crap out of each other with lightsabers. And the rest of the weekend, I'd see kids walk by, and this little kid would be like, hey, there's lightsabers over there. So there's still definitely some interest in beating people up with lightsabers. And then the 501st showed up. One of the guys was Darth Vader. And there was like, a couple of Imperial people with them. Like, what's the dude that has the big helmet with just the little visor on it on the Death Star that's like pressing the fire button? They had one of those guys there. Yeah.
Walking
so
around hitting
cool.
things because you can't see anything.
Yeah, that's right. But anyway, Darth Vader was taking pictures with, all the kids and stuff. So there was definitely still some, Star Wars has a deep following and place in popular culture, despite the mishandling. You know what I mean?
It's
we
a
all grew
great
up with it.
It is a great sandbox. It is.
Yeah.
None of the other ones.
It feels like
has
some bullies
quite-
came in, kicked people out of the sandbox, and have been playing with it for most of recess. And one of them finally just, got called off to class, and we're hoping that some of the creative kids can get in the sandbox and play, I think.
If you think about it,
People play?
I would say as far as accepting sandboxes, welcoming, ease of integration, sandboxes, that kind of thing. I think Star Wars is probably top of the list. When you think about like Dune or 40K or Star Trek or any of that, Star Trek's just dumb. No one wants to go there.
We can talk about
That's
Starfleet Academy if you like, but it's a deep hole.
it's just that's not good.
Yeah.
Warhammer is cool, but it's not as welcoming. You know what I mean? You're not going there to have a good time. You're going there for a heavy story. When you want a heavy dose of something that's just dark and that kind
you
of
want
thing.
sci-fi Game of Thrones tragedy.
And
Exactly.
far too much
Yes.
Imperial Guard.
Exactly. And then Dune is I
Not
don't know
enough
what you would
Necrons.
describe that as,
Dune is the grandfather of them all, and we will brook no heresy.
Let's
Dune
not speak of the Quintet. I am actually. I did watch the TV series, and I'm curious how they're going to go with the second season. The first season was,
first season was horrible.
It had a lot. Well, it had a lot of that agenda. I like the effects. The effects were really nice, but the
effects are
I
fine,
can
but
say
that's
that about the Star Wars prequel or sequels as well. Like the effects were great.
Well,
but
I like those too. But
the stuff
for
they
that
were
reason,
affecting was not.
That's
great.
why I have all the books, the diagram books and stuff. But that's the main draw of it to me. But yeah, I did see the first episode of the new Game of Thrones series.
Has that hit?
Night of Seven Kingdoms? Yeah.
Is that out now?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
HBO Max. Yep. So.
All right.
Okay.
I'll have to watch that.
Yeah, I'll wait till you guys see it.
Was it any good?
I found it to be not. It wasn't bad. It was. But
You're saying it was good.
No, technically, it was good. As far as the story goes, it depends how they go. It's a very introductory episode. So it's a set.
With one episode,
the two main characters. It's hard to judge if it's good because they really didn't. It just was an introduction. So it could go well, but
It
you
could
know,
go
as
either
far
way.
as production and all that, it looked really nice. It wasn't cheap. So you know,
let's be
it's
honest.
worth checking
Alien
out, but
Earth, that
it
first
needs
episode
it's
was pretty good. Like I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, I see
Yeah,
where.
and
Yeah,
then
let's see where they
how it
go.
goes
And then they just took a
Right.
hard left turn. And
Yes. It goes
Alien
the same
Earth.
way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, with the
Pan
ship
space,
crashing,
yeah.
and I was like, okay, I'm here for this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Peter
No,
Pan. Yeah,
Alien Earth sucked from episode 1 and like sucked harder as it went, and not in a good way.
it just kept. It was the vacuum suck of
Right.
science.
It was all teeth
But it's
and
also-
no joy.
But it's also an example of what Mark was talking about, where you can have the best of effects and everything, and
Yes.
if there's nothing to back it up, then that quickly goes away.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, I just can't get over that lead girl's haircut.
Awesome.
I want her to look like Lloyd
Awesome, Bob.
Christmas.
Can you make her look more unappealing, please? Please.
Done.
Oh, did you know, by the
Up
way,
appeal.
speaking of unexpected ownerships and stuff like that, did you know that Bugatti Rimac, you guys know who Bugatti is?
A car company.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The fastest
Yeah, I have 3 of them.
the fastest production car in the world, right? 300 some miles an hour. And it's Bugatti Rimac, which is this was the thing for me. Bugatti is an Italian guy who started it in France, so it's a French company, but they build it in Germany. And it's the CEO is a guy from Croatia who has a electric car company for hypercars called Rimac,
Mhm.
and their primary owner by stock ownership is Hyundai.
I mean,
This all sounds like a
sounds
complicated money
complicated.
laundering scheme to me.
It does.
I
I'll
think
tell
we
you,
need
the
to get some
cars-
forensic accountants involved.
And I'm in on anything Bugatti.
this
Yeah.
sounds very.
I do like
complicated.
Bugattis, man. You know what's cool about them? I realized because I started watching. What was it? I was watching some videos about. It was after we had our talk about supercars and all that, exotic cars and so forth. And I saw a video with a Lamborghini racing something else and all that. And it was on channel Car Wow, I think, or something. And he's always, I noticed in his videos, there's a lot of Bugatti stuff in there. It's like, racing Bugattis and Remax and Naveras and Koenigsegg's and all these hypercars and everything. But the one I like the most is the Bugatti. And I was wondering, what is it about that I like so? Why do I like that so much? And I realized what it is. That is the car that they modeled the supercar after out of Crackdown.
Yeah, you're right. Yep.
In its ultimate form.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Right.
looked it up. I was like, wait a minute, that looks like the one out of Crack. That's why I like that one. And I looked it up and it says that was the inspiration, was the Bugatti.
Does it have flame? Does it have flames that come out the back when you hit the gas? That's awesome.
Yeah, that bastard actually does. That thing's thing's a beast.
Runs on the funny car fuel.
Yeah, that thing's a beast, man.
Awesome.
But I looked at it and I was like, oh yeah, that's why I like it. It looks like a Bugatti Veyron. All right.
It looks like the crack. That's awesome.
And apparently Tom Cruise bought one and took it to the Oscars or something and drove it up in the middle of the lane. Huh?
He drove it through the Oscars like you drive
Yeah.
a car in Crackdown?
Yeah.
That would be great.
No, he drove it up to the Oscars, put it in the middle of the lane so everybody could see him getting out of it and all that. And he goes around to open the car door for his wife at the time, and he can't figure out how to open the car door.
You're very attached to this vehicle. I
He's
see, Tom.
stuck there for like 40 seconds trying to figure out how to open the car
Where's
door.
my
Knock
hand
on the
go?
window. Can you open it from the inside?
Roll it down.
Crawl out.
Crawl over to my side.
Can you breathe okay? I'll be back.
$500,000 car. Roll down the window. Amazing. I have to compliment you on your fine shirt there, Mark. That's really cool.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Perhaps people should go to armorclass10.com and get themselves one.
Is this one of those ad
My
breaks where like we
shirt.
talk about food delivery services?
organic.
Yeah, it's the ad break, but
Organic ad
we're
break.
trying to sneak it in. We're sneaking
That's
it in
where-
subtly, so shut up.
This is where we put up the
So
QR code that everyone fast forwards through.
Hey, this episode is brought to you by Next.
No one's watching.
See, at least when YouTube stops and plays an ad, you wait for the next button.
Yeah.
When it's the people doing the video and they stop and start talking about whatever the
Yeah.
sponsor is, you're like,
You can't.
I know.
you're wearing
yeah.
the same outfit, so you can't
Yeah.
scrub through to find out where they stop talking
Yeah.
about whoever the
Hitting the
sponsor
15-second button. 15 seconds.
Yeah,
15
yeah.
seconds.
But you would not want to do that with fine quality apparel from
No.
Armor Class 10.
No.
Dot
Don't
com,
sound like an
would you?
NPC.
If you want to
Don't
protect
sound
your,
like an NPC. Wear Armor Class 10.
if you all want to protect your passwords, send them to me. I'll write them down. Trust me. If
Oh,
you,
now we'll put them someplace safe.
this brought to you
So,
by K-Man Security.
So
Excellent.
speaking of the Warhammer thing, there's a lot of stuff going on with that. Yeah.
Yes.
is
yes.
it what?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Apparently,
Well,
they are coming out with a Star Trek set campaign, kind of like Space Hulk. Remember, we were talking about one Custodes could take it all. Apparently, they're doing it. It's going to be
They're
one
doing it.
like Space Hulk, and you got one Custodes,
knew?
and you just Yeah.
Who knew this show was that
And all
influential?
these red shirts after him. Man, that game would sell a bazillion copies.
We are the future.
I'm
Oh,
gonna send
that
my
would be
Klingon
something.
Starfleet officer. There's no
Yeah.
way you. Oh, he's dead.
And
I
who
like
would
the
you,
Birdwatch.
Yeah.
if you were going to put a game like that together, what era of Star Wars would you want your Custodes to
Star Wars or
do as
Star
wet
Star
work?
Trek.
Star Wars, Star Trek. Where are we? I'm confused.
Oh, I think it
Star
has
Trek.
to be
Star Trek.
the
Okay.
next generation.
Yeah, Picard.
Next generation?
Yeah,
Picard.
Yeah.
I think
I-
so.
Next Generation or Deep Space Nine, one of the two for me. Deep Space
Yeah.
Nine probably because I hated it the most.
Really? I never
Yeah.
saw Deep Space
Really?
Nine.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah.
I
enjoyed
didn't.
Deep
I
Space
thought
Nine.
Deep Space
Of
Nine
course you
had
did,
some
Mark.
good writing.
It was one of the better ones.
I like.
Hey,
I
Kelly, you
liked
shut
this
your
show
filthy
and,
mouth,
It
okay?
had the who were the guys who were the deal makers? The
The
Ferengi.
Ferengi.
Ferengi. Yeah, I like the
Yeah.
Ferengi. Yeah.
Oh Jesus!
Ferengi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I think it'd be great. I think
Little bit of a
that would be an
trope there,
awesome
but-
that'd be an awesome sight to see a Custodes land on the Enterprise and go to town. I want to see Tasha Yar try to go toe to toe with Constantine Valdor,
I want to design this game right now.
right? I want to see that, man. I want to see
It would be like the animation in the old movie Heavy Metal, where Hanover Fist just gives someone a backhand slap, and they splash against the wall.
It would be, actually, you could put together a game like that. Just everybody on the Enterprise would have the stats of, an Imperial Guardsman, that kind of thing.
that's,
And then-
that's even
Red
being
shirt
generous.
Oh, it's
That's
being
being
real
generous.
generous.
'Cause
Yeah.
at least the Imperial Guardsmen are wearing the flak armor and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like they're all
all
wearing
hopped up on
dresses and
cornstarch.
skirts and stuff.
Yeah, I want to see Wesley Crusher try to go toe to toe.
Shut up.
That'd be
Oh,
awesome.
Wesley Crusher would be my first casualty. He would be that Custodes would show up in the shuttle bay and make a tear for the bridge for Wesley Crusher.
I think Data might last a round or two.
He would go onto the bridge of the Enterprise, grab Wesley, and smack the face off of his face in front of his mother.
Is there a need for all this? Grabbing him by the neck and just squeezing till his head popped off.
Oh, that
do
would
we-
be
Why do
great.
we hate so much? Why do we have so much hatred?
That would be.
You
that would
know,
be good.
I don't. Star Trek holds a fond place in my heart. Over
The
years.
original ones do. Yeah. And even
You
some
know,
of,
I
Next
like-
Generation.
I like Spock. Spock was cool.
Spock was
But
cool.
Star Trek was just too Pollyanna. It was just too milquetoast
It's the
and
60s, man.
you know,
Boomers.
oh, it's gonna work out, humanity, yay! You know that whole thing.
There
Well,
were
it
some
did
really
have the
good
episode
episodes,
where they
though,
went
yeah.
down to Nazi Germany. That was a pretty good one.
That one was interesting.
Yeah.
What'd you say, Kelly?
I said there were some really good episodes of Star
Yeah.
Trek.
There were
You know,
some good
yeah.
episodes,
Edge
but
of
it's
Forever.
just the Roddenberry-esque, you know, atmosphere of all of Star Trek that
Yes.
if you
heaven
actually
forbid,
lived in that
we have an
universe, you
optimistic view of the future.
Oh,
Well,
shut it.
the best episodes, in my opinion, were the ones that were written by Harlan Ellison, and they were always super cynical. So that's like the Nazi Germany one, the City on the Edge of Forever. That's all Harlan Ellison. He was just a jerk. So his episodes were really well written, though.
I'd still love to see the Imperium show up to Starfleet on Earth in
Dude,
that universe.
Come on.
Oh,
Did you see
God.
the new ship
Oof.
in the new IUD ship in Starfleet Academy that the wings spread out, and I just
No.
love to see an Imperial dreadnought just come in and just choom 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 choom.
Could you imagine one of the Primarchs showing up to Earth, going to Starfleet Academy to reintegrate this lost planet into the Imperium,
Angron.
and just not only
I'd love to
bringing
see
them
Angron
into
show
the
up.
fold, but cleansing all of the
Okay,
non-humans
look,
out of that?
I want to end the podcast so that I can get on to some of these AI video generation
Start making them.
apps and start creating Wesley
Gemini.
Crusher versus
Gemini, let's
Constantine Valdor.
Brock, show me what would happen if Angron showed up at Starfleet Academy and wanted to give the writ of the Imperium and the Lex Imperialis.
See, I like the idea. I like the idea of Wesley Crusher versus, and you just fill in the blank with some terrible, just
Wesley
awful,
Crusher versus
just, you know,
red curs.
and just every, you know, that could be a whole line of shirts in and of itself. Just
Yeah.
Wesley Crusher getting his face slapped off of his face, you know, on the front of a T-shirt by some horrifying alien or entity or any of that.
Yeah.
That would be great.
No, it's true. I mean, Wesley Crusher versus Lehman Russ, or you know,
Wesley Crusher
Who would
versus the Nightbringer. Wesley Crusher
versus Night Haunter versus Conrad Kurz. Yeah.
Wesley Crusher versus a
Plays
blood
him
thirster.
apart. Wesley Crusher versus Angron. I mean,
Oh, that
amazing.
would be, yeah, that would be good. Yeah, I don't know why. No, I guess I know why. I hate Wesley Crusher's character so much.
It's
It
Will
was
Wheaton.
just no,
I like
you know, Will
I just
Wheaton.
don't. Yeah, I mean,
Will
but that
Wheaton.
character sucked.
Will Wheaton, actually, I liked him on Big Bang Theory. You
Yeah.
know,
Will Wheaton.
but the character of Wesley Crusher was so annoying.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
they
Rick-
put him. You know, they put
Well,
him in there because they were expecting all the kids to say, "Oh, look, I could be Wesley Crusher."
Well,
That's
because
exactly
all the
what I
people that were
thought
watching
back in the
him-
day when I saw. I'm like, that could be me.
all the
when you
people that
when you were 20 some years old.
Well, think about it. All the people that were watching Wesley Crusher were Gen X kids, and Gen X kids would not brook that sort of weakness. It's like, who's this?
No,
pussy?
he was awful.
Yeah.
Ugh. Ugh.
Yeah, amazing.
Eager milk toast looking bastard. So I'm sorry, we cut you off in that tangent. So tell us, what is going on in the Warhammer world?
Oh yeah, that was quite a
Oh, I
tangent.
thought that
There's
was
something
it.
going on. What?
Well, we're trying to push it away because you know. Go ahead. Do you want me to talk about it, or do you want?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Going on in the Warhammer world. Well, we have multiple things going on in the Warhammer world. We have some big changes to the Custodes as of their last preview, which have blown up the world on many sides, both positive and negative. Some people decrying it a victory. Some people saying it's the end of the company. So we can start. I know, Sean, you are a huge fan of the Custodes. So you know, the Adeptus Custodes being the Emperor's personal bodyguards.
Yeah. The way they used to be, anyway.
That's where we're going. Hold it in.
Yeah.
We'll get there. So I would like to hear they have made a retroactive change or a retcon to the lore, which they had introduced in 2024 was the first time, but they have now solidified it by producing plastic miniatures, which make it a reality as opposed to just being in the text. So what is your opinion of how they have changed the Custodes?
Make what a reality for clarification?
Okay, so what has happened is up until 2024.
Don't make him say it.
I have to because people are confused. Up until 2024, Custodes were an all-male faction. They were the Emperor's closest bodyguards, which he gene crafted personally to make companions and loyal bodyguards which could not betray him for himself, because the Adeptus Astartes, the Space Marines, were merely weapons that he used to conquer the galaxy, whereas the Adeptus Custodes were meant to be companions. Since he was immortal, they were companions that he built for himself that could potentially live as long as him, and there were only 10,000 of them, and they were an all-male faction, much like the Sisters of Silence, who were an all-female faction. And in the 41st millennium of 40K, as opposed to the Horus Heresy, which is what we're talking about, there was the Sisters of Battle, which is the Adeptus Sororitas. The Games Workshop, in their infinite wisdom, due to, it seems, some progressive politics being infused into their development staff, have now started, they first started writing that there were female Adeptus Custodes, and that they had always been there. And that is where the major point of contention is, that if you don't agree with the change that they've made over 20 years of writing about them, where they were described specifically as the sons of noble families, where they were drawn from to be recrafted into these immortal superhuman beings, potentially immortal superhuman beings, that you were a misogynist, a racist, you add your and it was the disrespect that was shown to people who have been following this story for a long time, that, well, they were always there, we just never mentioned them, even though for 20 years of writing and probably 1 million words of lore, they've never come up in any way, shape, or form. Now, as of this month, they have created plastic miniatures, not just writing about them, that are now going to be not only in use in the 30th millennium, which is the Horus Heresy, the historical form of Warhammer 40,000, but the future as well. It's one of the first times they've normally shy away from having any kits which cross over games. So Horus Heresy stuff stays on the Horus Heresy side, 40K stuff stays on the 40K side, and they're not supposed to be used across games. They've made very specifically made a point that, oh, you could use them in both games. Very strange, but you have to wonder, Sean Stark, why they have done this. And I'm very curious, since Sean, this is your favorite faction. I know this is you brought them up over and over, how they're your favorite faction. What do you think about this change?
Same as I thought about it before. I'm very disappointed.
Yep.
Extremely disappointed. It's like the Fantastic.
Oh, I didn't want to hear what he had to say, so I booted
Games
him.
Workshop.
Can't stand this negativity. I'm kidding.
Conspiracy time. They censored him. The Imperium has censored John. He's so frustrated he tore out his wire.
The black ships just picked him up.
The black ships came and took him. He's going to be reprocessed. Well, he'll be back in a sec. That's okay. Yeah, that was timely.
Sean censored himself,
and I still can't hear you, so I'm gonna join again. Yeah.
So many problems there today.
I know.
I'm telling you, they're censoring him. We'll wait till he gets back, because I'm super curious, because Sean really is. I have never liked the Adeptus Custodes personally. I find they always talked about them as perfect examples of everything that's in the Imperium. Can you hear us again now?
Yeah, it keeps doing it. I can't hear you again.
Odd.
I think Sean just doesn't want to talk about it.
Yeah, Sean doesn't. If you don't want to talk about it, just say you don't want to talk about it.
I see his level of connectivity keeps going up and down. Maybe that has something to do with it. Well, like I was saying, I've never liked the Adeptus Custodes just because they've always been touted as flawless, perfect beings, and anything that's perfect and has no flaws, I kind of look sideways at it, especially in a place like the Warhammer 40K universe that
I hope all that was clear. I hope you understand where I was coming from with it. I hope that made sense. I felt I couldn't make a more salient point than I had. And
Cogent, well thought out.
Yeah, I feel
So-
enlightened.
thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I just thought I'd bookend it, just to
It's rare for somebody to change my opinion, but I think you did.
thank you.
Yeah.
So-
Thank you. I'm sad that it took this to do it,
Yeah.
but I just felt there was no other choice. So anyway, it's probably the most profound thing I'll ever say or do in my entire life. So thank you. Thank you for enduring that. I hope
Well
I
said.
hope you found it useful. So
Okay, counterpoint. I, for one, love the change, and I feel like it's broadening my Warhammer horizons. So bring it on.
mhm.
Thank you for that.
Now I can't hear Rich.
I hear
Yeah, I
you.
can't hear. Huh? What'd you
I
say,
hear you.
Rich?
I can hear Rich.
I hear you.
I hear
Now,
Rich
he
now.
was saying something, or he was smacking
I-
his lips
No,
in
I didn't
such a
say
way
it.
that
I just said I was going to say I can't tell whether that was sarcasm or not, Mark. I suspect it was.
it was a little bit of both. And let me be honest, back in Rogue Trader days, I had a female Space Marine captain
Okay.
captaining my army in the first Warhammer 40K League that we
course
played
you
at the
did.
Laurel Games Workshop store. So I've never been opposed to it. And to say that Games Workshop has never explored, female Space Marines or Custodes is untrue because I have the miniatures from way back in the day. But
You
having said
do
that,
not have Custodes ones.
I understand. In Rogue
And they weren't
Trader,
Marines.
yeah, shut up. Let me talk. In Rogue Trader, that was
Don't say
a
that thing.
kitchen sink mess of a book, right? There was a lot of stuff in there. And over from second edition on, they've filled in the lines, filled in the map, codified everything. That like Space Marines used to have MPs, like military police, like
They still do.
no, they don't. Shut up. So they don't have MPs.
You're
You
wrong.
you shut your filthy mouth. They don't have that.
Jesus Christ.
And then I played Necrons, right? And Necrons have been significantly retconned from the original Necrons to what they are
Well, they
today.
were one model.
So retconning is not a new thing to Warhammer. My biggest issue is how they went about doing it. It was a
Yes.
very underhanded, very like, no, we've always done this. Like, if you're gonna retcon something, just retcon something and be like, hey, you know what? We're making this show with Amazon and we want to have some females in it. So we're gonna have female Custodes because we don't want to put female Space Marines in.
So
Right. And if you come out and say that, most people are going to be like, well, I'm not going to play them. Or they're going to be like, okay, whatever, I don't care. But the way it's been handled, especially in today's day and age, right? In today's day and age, everybody wants to make a YouTube video crying and pissing and moaning about every decision everybody makes about anything, right? Because these videos are designed for like, rage baiting and clickbaiting and, somebody said this thing, like, example after example. So here's the thing. I don't care if there's female Custodes. If I'm playing a Custodes army, I can choose to have females in my army or not. Right?
Maybe.
I've known people who were playing Space Wolves and she was like, oh, I'm going to have female Space Wolves. And like, no one's going to be like, you can't do that.
No.
It's her army. She can play whatever the heck she wants. Like, I get it. That might be different from the lore, but they're little plastic toy soldier figures. Like, a lot of this feels rage baity, but I feel like Games Workshop has shot themselves in the foot by not just being adults and going, hey, we want to do this, so we're going to do it, and this is why, right? Don't hit us with some tweet that's like, there's always been them. I don't know what you're talking about. Like,
Well, yeah.
that is gaslighting. And you're not going to get, because let's be honest, what percentage of women are playing Warhammer 40K? Right?
Five
I've
at
been
most.
to the Las Vegas Open. I've been
Five
to
at
the
most.
Nova Open, right? I've been to Adepticon.
Five.
That number is in the 1% category of attendees, right? It's, this is a predominantly male hobby. You want to include some women, make it more friendly. I'm not going to say it's not friendly at all. I don't agree with that at all. I think women show up are like, cool, there's some women who play Warhammer. Like, that's awesome. I feel like it's always been very approachable and inviting for whoever wants to come in and play.
Yeah.
But I think Games Workshop is like, we want to make this, Amazon is like, we want to make this show. We got to have some actresses in it. We need more female stuff. And the Sisters of Silence can't talk. That's going to be hard to pull off in our show. What do we do?
Can't speak her mind. Yeah.
Right. This is where I feel like this is really coming from, is Games Workshop's board wants some of that Hollywood money, right? This is not being driven by the tabletop. This is not driven by the design studio. This is just driven by, Hollywood media money, is my opinion. So
I disagree with you on one point. So as far as the origins of where this came from, who knows? We have we're just speculating, right? But I disagree with you that this is not coming out of the design studio, and here's why. The era of Warhammer that we like, being of relative same age, was developed by people that were late baby boomers, early Gen Xers, and their sensibilities and the way that they created things. That era of Games Workshop, say 1985 to 2010, let's say, when almost everyone retired, that was all shaped by those guys. The people that are there now in the development crew are probably all late 90s, early millennial people. They're same age we were when we were involved there, 20s and 30s. Their sensibilities, if you know anything about late 90s millennial sensibilities, are exactly this. Everyone's equal. Everyone gets a trophy. It's all the stuff that we, as Gen Xers, look at them as like, you guys are shitbags. We don't like you.
It's a family-friendly podcast. Watch the
okay,
language.
great. Okay, so censor me. But I mean, I think that it is coming out of the design studio. I just think the people that are there controlling things now, everyone who was like us, who would say, this really doesn't make any sense. They don't care about that. That's not what they care about. What they care about is agenda and politics and making sure that everything they touch reflects what they believe, as opposed to being stewards for the lore and being stewards for like, well, I didn't create this. I need to make sure that I keep to what came before and make it make sense. They don't care about that anymore. Now it's all just like, I constantly bring up this analogy. They see a car like Sean's supercar Bugatti. That's a really fast, cool car that can take me wherever I want to go. That car has certain things that make it that car. Well, I don't care about any of that. I just got to get in and drive it. And it's a vehicle for what they believe to push, as opposed to pushing and making the content better. They're pushing their feelings and their beliefs more, using that vehicle to push it. I agree with you. There is push from probably, we're speculating, from financial sources, ESG money and BlackRock and Amazon and all that stuff. They are investors. That is true. And they have recently become investors. So perhaps there is pressure there. But I think this is coming directly from the people that are making the stuff. Because if you look at companies like Warlord Games, all the people that didn't believe in those things, that thought, man, lore is important, keeping what came before is important, they all work at Warlord now, if they're working at all, or they're not retired. But, and all the guys that shaped the stuff that we like from Games Workshop, Rick Priestley, Andy Chambers, some people might like Gav Thorpe, but some people might argue against him. But, that generation, they've all either started their own companies or they work for other companies which more agree with their style of how things should be done. And I think that's where it's coming from. I think it's coming directly from inside, that they've got a whole bunch of writers, not necessarily the sculptors. The sculptors get the brief because it comes from games dev, and the sculptors, it either works one of two ways. Sculptors come up with an idea for a line from games, and then games dev creates stuff around it, or there's a back and forth between them. We all, especially Sean and Mark, how the company works. It's kind of an organic design process between the two. A lot of it is driven by the miniatures, like we need this many miniatures, but how that all shapes out on the back end, it's kind of a back and forth procedure. So I think this is definitely coming from within the company, and it's following the exact same route that every company which has these type of people of that era it's the same pattern every time. Star Wars, Star Trek, Marvel, DC, The Witcher, you name it. The Lord of the Rings, it's all being consumed by this belief system. And 40K was we held it up for a long time. It's like, oh, it's the last bastion. It's never going to fall. It's too dark. It's too grim. And now it's just not that anymore. I would have had no problem with them making this change for the 41st millennium like they did with the Primaris. If they did it in the 41st only, and they said there are no female Custodes in the Horus Heresy, but like Sean said, and you said, Mark, they gaslit us. They said, oh, well, they've always been there. We never talked about them. It's like, oh, the whole Horus Heresy, the entire Siege of Terra, not one dramatis personae did anything of note? Really? Really? Okay. Even when the Emperor went up to, shocker, went up to the battle barge to fight Horus, and the big thing was the Primaris turned, or the Primaris, the Custodes turned on the Emperor. They are genetically encoded not to be able to do that. That the evil was so overwhelming that they turned on the Emperor. That's not supposed to be able to happen because they were made to be loyal. My biggest thing, I'm just very pleased now that Custodes.
No, that actually speaks to there being female Custodes, because I've got a long history of women stabbing me in the back.
Well, I mean,
I can see it.
But
that makes the most sense,
none
actually.
Of them stabbed him in the back because they're all named for female. But I do find it very entertaining, and they haven't really thought this through, that now the Emperor can be sitting on the throne and say, go get me a sandwich. And they're genetically encoded to rule Bay. So awesome. I need a sandwich. Yes, sir. Off they
I
shuffle.
just don't. I've told you guys before how I feel about it. It's a lot like with the Silver Surfer thing, you know.
Shalabal.
Yeah, I waited so long to see a good version of Galactus and Silver Surfer and all of that.
And they did that.
And I can't get it. I can't do it. They gotta do something different because they want it. The
movie flopped.
I don't know.
So I mean, apparently everyone else who feels like us is out there. The movie completely bombed by its standards.
I don't know. It hits me as really weak creativity is the thing that bugs me the most. I love the Sisters of Silence. I loved in the original Rogue Trader remember when we looked on the back cover and they had the
little art pieces,
the Sister of Silence there, or not Silence, but Sororitas there, but it wasn't a Sororitas yet. It was just some chick in power armor, and everybody's like, "Oh wow, look at that, it's cool." All the stuff that they had to change something that was so creative and so ingenious as the setting was for 40K, to change it so surreptitiously it was frustrating.
Yeah.
It was like taking what could you use? Taking Moses, Michelangelo's Moses, and painting him some other color because the marble offended or wasn't acceptable or something. It's for no other reason than it didn't match the room. That kind of thing.
And to mention the Sisters of Silence, you bring up a good point. The whole part of the one thing I did like about the Custodes, because I didn't really care for them. I was saying while you were off camera, the fact that they're such perfect beings and that they could take out Astartes right and left, without a thought.
I see. He ran into the same thing I did.
The fact that they were flawless annoyed me.
Yeah, start that whole thing over. We didn't get any of that.
Any of it? Oh, okay.
Or don't.
So you bring up a good point about the Sisters of Silence. The fact that the thing that annoyed me about the Custodes was that they were flawless, that they were built to be genetically perfect. They were better than any Space Marine, right? They were the best. But there were only 10,000 of them. And to make up for their lack of numbers, they had the Sisters of Silence, which protected them from psychic attacks, which was a very human thing. Males and females working in tandem, two halves of the whole, yin and yang. They were most effective as the talons of the Emperor when they worked together, because they were vulnerable to psychic attacks unless the sisters were there with their null abilities.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, you've got female Custodes. Well, why do you need the sisters anymore? Now you need them for the same reason, but it seems like they're not doing anything new for the Sisters of Silence. They've kind of been shuffled off, and like, oh
Well, not only that, by the same logic, there should be Brothers of Silence.
there should be.
There
Yes.
should be all kinds of Brothers of Silence.
Every
There
Knoll.
should be,
Yeah.
Right.
All the
History of
Knoll.
silence.
yeah, there should be, Adeptus, whatever the,
Misters of
sororitas.
Silence
There should
and,
be,
and,
should be college
Misters of Battle.
bros.
Yeah,
There
Misters
should
of
be.
Battle.
Yeah. And see,
There
here's
should
the
be
thing,
no
going,
difference.
Going back to the impetus of this whole thing. If we believe that Amazon Studios is behind some of this push because they want to make a show and they want to have actresses in the show and give them parts that are worth having, like I can think of 3, 4, 5, 6 super creative ways to have Sisters of Silence
Yes.
in there, with their battle cant or
And their
some kind of
disabled
thing,
representation.
that would be crazy. Could like think about it, right? One of the best villains ever put on television rings a bell with one of his fingers. Has no dialogue whatsoever, right? Ding, 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 and I in a wheelchair with a bell and make him a villain.
Oh, we lost Mark.
Yeah, we lost you, Jesus.
Inquisition
losing me
is,
too?
really
Yeah,
at it.
yeah. It's going all over. Yeah.
You got to
Okay.
you got to the bell. You got to the bell.
The
Back
bell.
to the bell. Yeah, like here's a great villain who has almost no dialogue whatsoever, and we managed to pull that off with his facial expressions, his physical acting, and a bell.
Yeah.
Right. And we can't throw all of this Hollywood creativity at a Sisters of Silence.
Yeah.
Depiction and
the
go.
sisters are
Like
cool.
I would love to. In fact, I think that would be better
Yeah.
than watching some big hulking woman in gold power armor, walk around with this big bolter spear
It's ma'am.
and pretend that she, yeah.
See, the thing I thought was so cool was what Rich was talking about, that you had the two halves
Yes.
that
Mhm.
made one
So human.
team.
Yeah.
I thought that was so cool. I hadn't seen anyone do that sort of thing before,
Yes.
where the sisters were so powerful that the demons would recoil from them, that they
Or
were just
disappear.
almost impossible to
Yeah.
see because people just couldn't
Yeah.
handle,
And-
how
and from
alien
a-
they were.
From a video standpoint, or putting this on film, these are normal sized human women.
Yeah.
Next to,
Giant
these
hulks.
giant hulks, right?
Yeah.
So you could see this giant Hulk in his big armor, physically assaulting these demons, and it being like this thing, and this little woman runs up there and is basically hurling them back
Yeah. I
with
could
her
see her.
presence.
I could
You know what I
see
mean?
a
Like
scene where
there's some
they're-
visual paint
And-
there that we could tell amazing stories with.
They're
And
stabbing
they are
demons
the-
and stuff, and they're jumping off the spears, like they jump up on a spear and then come down with the. I could see such great action shots.
But from a story standpoint, they were also the only ones who actually saw the Emperor.
uh-huh.
Those
Yeah.
were some of the
Saw 'em
coolest
truly.
bits.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
were some of the coolest bits in the novels when
Yep.
she's talking about all that, and she was saying, and all she saw was an old man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought that was so cool that
Yeah.
here's
beneath
this,
Kroll. Yeah.
right, this dedicated, because her dedication had to be true. She's
Yeah.
not under any influence from him.
No, she
You
can't
know,
be affected
she-
by any psychic powers.
I just, man, I saw that as so cool, how the intricacies of the various not just not races, but the
relationships
tools, the
between them.
implements, all these different classes and stuff that were there. I really liked how they put all that together. And not to mention, you still have the Inquisitorius, you got the Assassinorum, you got
Yep.
all these different ones that you can explore that same way. It just, man, that was disheartening.
It's
Yeah.
just, it's,
Yeah,
it-
rogue traders, inquisitors, like there's so much that you can do with female characters in the Warhammer 40K universe. And this is no different than us growing up. You know why there's not a lot of women in special forces? Because they can't pass the physical tests.
standards. Yeah.
The answer is not lower the physical tests. Right? The answer is be tough enough to pass them, because you might have to pick up a 200-pound dude with 100 pounds of gear and haul him to, your evacuation helicopter, right? You
And the
can't
simple-
have.
Well, the simple fact is that all of those structures were developed without them. There's nothing wrong with all female spaces, and there's nothing wrong with all male spaces. It seems to be that these people just can't handle the fact of an all male space. And they even went to the point when they made their declaration about it. There are no female space marines for now. Yeah, I don't trust you. I don't trust you at all. But you have multiple.
But I had the mini
That
back
makes
in the day.
that
Apparently there
statement
was.
makes no sense.
No.
In the anyway, whatever.
Yeah,
Whatever.
but so I your favorite, Sean. I'm sorry that they've done this to something that I know you truly loved the and I feel bad because it's like we were just talking about. We as fans of these things, I don't really like the Custodes, but they would not have won Prospero and fighting Magnus without the Sisters of Silence, without that dichotomy. They would have lost. They were being overwhelmed, and the only thing that stopped them was the Null Maidens. But now now.
See, I thought they just had such a cool relationship, man. I just really dug the fact
There were two halves of the whole.
That they were
Right.
both sitting there, each of them seemed to almost like bond, right? Where they became this fighting duo, and they were able to sit there and talk in battle cant and all that, and had this, and it wasn't based on anything physical or anything like
mark.
that.
Yeah.
It was just what they were. They were warriors. They were fanatics. Well, yeah, I guess you could say fanatics for this particular cause, but true believers,
Yeah.
and just so potent that way. I hadn't seen anything done like that before in all of fantasy or science fiction.
And my biggest lament is the laziness of trying to change that because you want to give an actress a job where she can talk.
If
right?
It's
my thought. If that's what it is, but let's be honest, I'm not wrong. That's what's going on.
I think that's part of it for sure.
Prove me wrong, fight me. That's what's going on. And I'm like, rather than throw creativity at this, right? You guys remember that in the Serenity movie when they go in at the beginning to rob the place, right? And what the psych is, Summer or whatever her name
Summer,
is like that guy's gonna pull a gun and try to do something. And she tells Zoe to go do that, and Zoe goes over and says, "Hey, you know the definition of a hero." All of that is done without dialogue.
Yeah.
Right. She's like, "Are you sure?" And she goes like, "Yeah, I'm sure." Right? That is an example of what you could do without dialogue. That whole thing was done. Now, like I, as a aspiring filmmaker and creative writer, like I would be juiced to get to work on that project of how do we translate Sisters of Silence to a big budget Amazon TV show. Let's go.
Yeah.
Right. The answer is not, we'll make the company change it so that we just have some female Custodes. And now we have, Gina Carano walking around in big gold armor. Right. That's not what we want. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's funny you bring that up. I'm very curious. Obviously, Henry Cavill, at least on the surface, is a fan of this, and he's an executive producer and is going to be in the show, apparently. I'm curious what his private thoughts are about this. And from what I understand, the rumor is that what you're talking about, they wanted female Space Marines, and this was a compromise. This was the compromise.
Right.
The compromise was, well, these are the best, but we have to put females somewhere, so we're going to put them in the Custodes, where it makes no sense. None. It just makes no sense. Like I said, if they did what they did with the Primaris, if they said Belisarius Call in the 41st millennium, as they were running out, they needed them faster, they needed to send them out on the expeditionary fleets that Gulliman was sent, Gully Boy was sending out, so they needed more of them, so they found a way. Belisarius Call can do everything, as you well know, Mark, because you are Belisarius Call. So, and he found a way to do it that wasn't known in the past. That would have been more palatable to me. But this lazy gaslighting, like you're saying, where they say, no, you're just a bunch of misogynist chuds if you don't agree with this because we've changed the very nature of the thing that you are interested in without.
Yeah, and some honesty would have gone a long way. Just come out and be like, hey, man, we're going to we're going to change this for reasons.
It's not hard.
We still might not like it. But we'd be like, okay, if you came out and said, hey, man, we're doing the show and we want to put some females in there, we're going to change it that there was always some female bodyguards. I wouldn't
All
care
right.
at all. You know what I mean? Like
All
I
right.
just
Well,
wouldn't.
the nail in the coffin is there. It is.
Yeah.
It's what it is.
This
So
is
what else
Yeah.
changed? What else changed?
well, they're mostly that's what people are grousing about right now.
Sure.
That's right. Well, bigger news than that, the Nightbringer has finally got an amazing
for Necrons.
By the
too.
way-
model. Woo!
Nice model, yeah.
By the
Yeah.
way, that's another retcon that really pissed me off. Was the
The
whole thing they
Necrons?
did with the Necrons. Remember
Well,
when they
made-
first
they
came?
added the females there too. They made
Well,
a
no,
push
no,
to-
no,
yeah.
not that. Not that. What I'm talking about is when the Necrons first came out, they weren't shards.
No, they were
they-
actual beings. Yeah,
They were actual beings. And I thought, oh my God, that's great. Things are moving along. This universe is finally waking up where you got the actual, beings
Star
who were
gods,
gods
yeah.
coming out. And
Yeah.
then it's like England said, no, that's too much.
They're
We saw what happened on that message board that boy Sean went to over in America. And they said, no, you can't do that. That's too powerful. You
can't do
can't
that.
have that.
Right. And,
So we
and
got
then
to
they
break
gave us
them
all
up.
the dynasties and the different troop types because they wanted it to match all the
Egypt.
other armies, right?
Well, Egypt,
Egypt.
yeah.
I know, but you also
Yeah.
you got fast attack and you got hand-to-hand guys and you got shooty guys and you got heavy weapon guys. Like it's funny, across a millennium and millions of worlds, everybody develops the same force structure.
Yeah.
Right. One of the things that drew me to the Necrons was there wasn't sergeants and captains and
Right.
there was like the guy in charge and troops and scarabs and a speeder bike, and that was it. And I was like I putting together a Space Marine list was hard because you had special weapons, you had
I'm just a simple
sergeants, and
caveman.
you're picking all this stuff. I was like, I ain't got time for that. That'll take 1,000 hours. Give me like 20 troops and I'm good. They all got the same gun. I was being lazy.
I said,
And again,
I'm a
that's
lazy
not
gamer.
necessarily a bad thing. I do like the dynamic with the the different houses, and some of the new figures are cool. But at the end of the day, you end up with the same cookie cutter force structure in every army. What's my fast attack slot? What's my troop slot? What's my HQ? And I'm like, I get it, but man, can't it just be a little different?
Wasn't it cool when they were just one massive force? And that it was there was this feeling of this kind of like Tyranids, right? Where it's just on the mechanical side, the zombie-ish side, right?
Yeah.
Where there, like you said, Mark, there's no reasoning with them. They don't talk to you. They don't think you're worth talking to. There's nothing to talk about. We're here to kill you. That's it.
Yeah, get off my lawn.
Yeah, that's it. And I really liked that, the ancient nature of it, and this almost like primeval, force that's finally awakened, and they're going to slowly start marching on the galaxy. That was so cool. And then suddenly, like you said, it becomes like Craft Worlds, and it becomes like, Earth with all the different houses fighting and all of that, and the Chaos Gods with the same thing, and everybody's the same, and it's just I get that part. I get bored with when you give me something. When you give me something new, and then you claw it back to say, no. Here, you need more of what you had before. You can't have this cool thing. That bugs me. That bugs me when they do that.
Yeah.
I'm
there's
surprised
a
they
little
haven't
bit of
done
a
that same
history
kind
of
of thing
this.
with Tyranids, huh?
So there's a history of this, of retcon.
There is.
Right? Like this is not the first and only time we've seen a significant retcon in a faction. Is the kind of the takeaway, and that's one of the sad inevitabilities. Like Rogue Trader, kitchen sink book full of amazing things. Is it a war game? Is it a role playing game? What is this thing? And then from second edition on, let's standardize, let's systematize, let's we can sell codexes, we can sell, it's not coming out in a White Dwarf magazine, now it's like, it's evolved over the years.
It was kind of like going to the first one was kind of like going to this really wacky exhibit at a museum from an artist that was just really out there, but had this kind of cool mustard and ketchup looking idea that you go in and think, okay, there's all these weird, different aspects to this thing, and you were actually kind of intrigued to find out what else was in there. And then you go back there again, and now it's a bank, you know, and
Yeah.
now you got to fill out forms. Now you got to, that it's just,
Yeah.
it's not the same as it was. It's got some of the same aspects and it's got some cool parts and everything, but over the years it's lost a little bit. And every now and again you'll get something really cool. And then you go back and now it's, just another part of the bank.
Yeah.
again.
And like I said, you kids that were not into wargaming in 1987,
Yep.
boy, you missed out. Now, were the figures great? No.
No.
The figures
Except
today
for
are
the-
amazing.
Compared to
Except
other
for the guy,
They-
except for the
they
guy
were the
from
best
Die
things.
Hard. The one
They were
Space
great.
Marine from Die Hard.
Yeah.
You don't remember that, Mark?
I don't get the reference. No, what are we talking about?
Remember the German guy who had the ponytail in Die
yeah.
Hard? They had a
Uh-huh.
Space Marine look just like him.
Oh,
in
did
the
they?
art.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, the artwork. Yeah, I'm thinking
Yeah.
of the figures. I'm like, I don't remember that figure. Okay.
No, they
artwork,
made
yeah.
a figure of him too.
I've
They
only been in
did.
the model too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was derpy like all the other Space Marines.
Okay.
Yeah, he was.
Right, but you know what I mean? Is being a teenager in 1987 and getting into Warhammer 40K in its heyday, man, that was some heady times. It was cool. They had the arms race. There were new figures coming out that we'd never seen. I remember getting a Dreadnought for the first time and being like,
Yep.
I'm not going to tell Russ about it. And then I was like, ha ha, I have a Dreadnought. And, it was awesome. In the same way that standing in line at midnight for the Halo 2 release was awesome. And kids nowadays just will not ever get to experience that. And I kind of feel sorry for them. I wish they could, like what's coming out now that they're going to experience for the first time, that they're going to look back on that same on with the nostalgia that we look back on from those things. You know what I mean?
I have some hope for this current Generation Alpha because they seem to be where Generation X was, where they're rejecting the baby boomers. Generation Alpha seems to be much more cynical and rejecting the stuff from the millennials and the 90s, the Gen Y guys. So, hopefully we'll see, but it's going to take, things, it's like a forest fire. It's going to burn down before it regrows. Right. And that's where we're at right now, unfortunately. And as it gets more popular, because like you said, Mark, this is Games Workshop's about to drive into the popular consciousness in a way it's never done before. As soon as it hits Amazon, it's going to become. It started already. You see the way the marketing is, lunchboxes.
Yeah. Well, how many comic nerds are there because of the movies that never picked up a comic book? 30 years ago, right?
So this is going to thrust this into the popular consciousness, and anytime you take something from a niche interest with a very strong support network of dedicated fans and push it out to the greater zeitgeist of humanity, it turns it into something different. And that's where we're going to be.
Look what they did to my Ninja Turtles.
Well, we're lucky that
they've always been that way.
In my opinion, we experienced.
No, they were black and white, and the only way you could tell them apart was their weapons.
Yes, their weapons. That's right. Yeah,
none of this color-coded nonsense.
And April was sexy. But in any case, I'm very pleased that the height of our kind of experience with this property was the height of where it was the best.
Pre-breakout.
We got to see it from the very beginnings to now we're seeing the Z heights and the lows. So, and that shapes our judgment because people coming into it nowadays, they only know what they're told. It's just like any kind of history. Like you ask someone about World War II who has no experience with they never knew anyone who was in World War II. They never talked to anyone who knew anything about World War II. And now they just believe what they're told. Well, it's going to be the same with 40K, heresy, whatever. But, that female Custodes are going to be the norm for anyone new. Even though they don't make any sense. And there's like, well, why don't they make any sense? No one, it's just like when you argue with someone.
Don't draw me down that road again. I want to end on a good note.
Okay.
Don't draw me down that road.
So other things, the Necrons do have a nice new model. That Satan Nightbringer does look cool. Looks super cool. and has
The shard, you mean?
Yes, the shard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's a cool looking shard.
The Nightbringer model is the only one I ever put on the table and had my opponent go, "Oh God, I'm gonna lose this game."
Yeah, I remember seeing.
You know what I mean? Like we didn't even start playing. I'm just like, "Here's my Nightbringer model," and he's like, "Oh God, I'm losing. Oh no."
I remember seeing him in the miniatures case at your apartment. You had the Nightbringer. Yeah. It's little tiny version.
Yeah, he's a little 6-inch tall. So cute.
See, I miss those days, those moments in time where it was actually more about the theme than about flipping a coin, you know?
Yeah, well,
where it was more about this thing is supposed to actually be this way rather than, well, this is equal.
Oh,
you know?
it's this many wounds and this many saves. I can do this. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's the math. Yeah.
That's why the old world is so popular right now. Why they took something which was supposed to be a specialist game and now it's a core game. It got so popular because people wanted that. People like us still value that, and we infect other people with our enthusiasm for it. So they're like, "Oh wow, we're making a lot of money off of this. We should make this a core game." So now we have 4 core games: Heresy, Old World, 40K, and Age of Sigmar, and everything else is a specialist, right? SDS. Kelly, did you start reading the Drop Site Massacre that I recommended?
No, it's on my list. I'm
too busy. Yeah. I think you will really enjoy it. It's a great, for all the stuff we just talked about, it's a great palate cleanser of daka, 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 kabam.
As long as there's a female Custodes in it, I'll be good.
There are not. But there are in the novel I'm reading right now, which is The Ashes of Imperium. That's where they solidified it there. So.
All right. Anyway.
Good talk,
all
guys.
Right. Well, thank you, gentlemen. We're still waiting on the new Halo, by the way. I still want to.
I would just like to say Sisters of Silence are awesome. I think they're cool. So
they are awesome. They are cool.
Thumbs up.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, guys. I will see you next time to get the hell out of
here. This concludes our Speak Nerd and Enter broadcast.
Here, go on. Get.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Suck it.